My name is Jeff Mikulina. I'm CEO of Blue Planet Foundation, filling in for Kirsten Turner for Sustainable Hawaii on Think Tech Hawaii. We have a fun show today. I'm with Francois Rogers, who is the Special Projects Director at Blue Planet Foundation, and we're going to be talking about students and energy. We recently did a Student Energy Summit and are currently doing a Student Energy Innovation Design Challenge. And we're going to share some of the submissions from students around the state today on Think Tech Hawaii. So it should be a lot of fun. So let's turn to Francois Rogers. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about this Student Energy Summit that Blue Planet Foundation hosted with a number of sponsors last fall. What was the thinking? What was the motivation behind doing a Student Energy Summit in Hawaii?
Well, I think the whole the idea behind the Student Energy Summit was that we wanted to find one event throughout the entire year, sort of a culmination to gather all the students from every island. So bringing students to have a dialogue and talk about energy issues that's relevant to their future. We were able to reach out to every island, at least 7 of them or 6 of them, to bring all the students together and sort of have a full day of talking about relevant energy issues, coming up with ideas, solutions, and sort of starting a dialogue so that they could work about it. Yeah.
What kind of turnout? What numbers?
So we had roughly about 100 students from every island that came out. We had about I think close to 30 schools that came out to this. We had age groups from middle school all the way up to high school. So it was a good mix of students, private and public schools as well too. Yeah. Yes.
And you kicked off the day with a video. It's the first video that we're going to share today, kind of setting the theme and setting the tone for the day that the students could be.
Yes, so every student was given a sort of a prep work prior to the summit, but we thought it was relevant that we showcase some of these videos so the mindset gets more deeper into it before we launched into the entire day.
Okay, can we share that first video? Video number 1 that set the stage for
Energy. Energy powers our modern lives. It has opened up new worlds, new opportunities, and new ways of living. But the way we've been generating and using energy for the past century comes with a high price. Our current energy use relies on expensive imported fossil fuel, oil, coal, and natural gas. When we burn these fuels, we create carbon dioxide, which is changing the stability of the climate that supports all life on Earth. Here in Hawaii, our fragile reefs and coastal communities are among the most vulnerable to these changes. Not only that, the 40 million barrels of oil we import annually cost our state over $5 billion. But it doesn't have to be this way. We have solutions, local solutions. Hawaii has some of the most powerful sources of clean energy on the planet that we can use to power our lifestyle without further changing the climate. Solar, wind, biofuels, geothermal. These are resources that we have in abundance in Hawaii. We don't have to rely on anyone else. This is our power. Hawaii's leaders recognize the urgency of our energy problem and passed a new law requiring that all of Hawaii's electricity come from only renewable sources within the next few decades. Hawaii is the first state in a nation with 100% renewable energy requirement. We have the tools and resources, but we're still figuring out how to bring them all together to make that bold transition to 100% renewable energy. Nobody has a crystal clear plan for the future, and that's where you come in. What happens next is up to you. We have the resources, we set the goal, and now the world is watching what we do next. Will you help us make history?
I really like that video. I think it was great to set the tone for the day and putting the power onto the students and saying, you have the power. What happens next is up to you. So after they watched the video, what was next for the students at the Student Energy Summit?
Well, I think, as you mentioned earlier, this was sort of the kickoff video. We wanted to have their minds focused on this. A lot of them were arriving from outer islands. They left at 6 in the morning, very early, and they got there. So this was sort of a wake-up call to the reality. So it really set the tone for the day. And then we went up to doing a little bit of a rally with the kids to get them warmed up. But truly, the morning was more about breaking the students up into little groups. We started up in a big room with over 100 kids, or up to 100 kids. But the idea behind this is how do we combine different set of kids from different age groups with different schools from different islands. So looking at the dynamic and how they work together as a team was kind of the key of this whole summit. So we divided it up into actually 28 groups. And all 28 groups worked in little small groups together. So in the morning, we put together some different courses. They had 3 locations to go to. One was based on transportation, one was based on energy efficiency, and then the final one was looking at the storage issues, particularly how we deal with peak demand and stuff like that. So how can we store energy and stuff like that. So students rotated from areas to areas, and they had different challenges within those areas. Yeah.
So those are real world problems that
Yes,
we're facing.
yes.
I mean, this wasn't.
Particularly in Hawaii, we talk about our challenges in Hawaii, being in the island and stuff like that, how we are so reliant on foreign oil and whatnot. So I think the students truly embraced it and realized that this is not some made-up story. This is actually a real thing happening, and it could relate to their future as well, too.
Yeah. So you said students from different islands, different schools, different ages came together. How did that work? I mean, as I understand, sometimes kids aren't always keen on, hanging out with folks they might not know. But did it go smooth?
Yeah, I think it was challenging as well too. Needless to say, I mean, whenever you put a middle school student with a senior high school student, there's different challenges. But I think they rose to the occasion. I think they did come forward and had many great ideas. I saw middle school kids coming up with different ideas, and it inspired the older children, the kids to kind of get involved into that. But we did also sort of ask every student to turn in why they wanted to be part of this Energy Summit. So I think their intention behind that was truthful, and so that reason, I think that allowed us to be more successful in that area. Yeah.
Having good kids to start with.
Yeah, I think so. They're eager. They're not walking in saying, well, what is energy? I think they understand what energy is, but in most cases they feel like, wow, I never really thought of that. Or
Sure.
some kids feel like, I kind of knew that already. So it's kind of an interesting way to sort of understand where they stand, what their energy, their knowledge level is. Yeah. Yeah.
And then that was the morning session. Then the afternoon took a little different approach.
Yeah, so in the afternoon we took a totally different approach, and we did a design thinking challenge. So design thinking challenge was hosted by Oceanit. We had 2 experts come in, and we did a total design challenge approach.
So what is this design thinking?
Well, so the design thing is we launched 2 different videos that we used it as the premise. Aside from this opening video, we had 2 more designs, and it was talking about how we deal with our peak demand through the evening, and we will use that as sort of the talking point. And they use 5 different steps to come up with a solution. So I think we could talk about that a little bit later, but I think it'll be more relevant if we looked at the video, that what we used at this the afternoon portion.
We actually don't have that video, so we'll have to kind of talk through
Okay.
what was in it.
Sorry.
But it was setting the stage essentially for here's a big challenge for you students to address. But,
Yes.
But not just sitting there and brainstorming, but actually using a rigorous process that approaches it a little bit different, this
Yes.
design thinking.
Yes. So I think there are 5 steps to it. I'm trying to remember the 5 steps, but basically it's to identify the problem and then sort of recognize and okay, why is the problem happening? The 3rd step is to also ideate, and then you have to come up with different prototypes to come up with the solution and actually go through with it.
Right.
So the kids were able to come up with different solutions for the tasks given. They were coming up with ideas, innovations, but at the end of the day, they were able to test that out to see if that theory works. What we also did at the end of the day is that we allowed other groups to observe or sort of question the other innovations of other teams. So it wasn't like they will come up with an idea and they said, this is what I did. We had other children come by and other students come by and sort of listen to what their innovation is about.
And then ask questions. Yeah.
And they'll counter them. So kind of, again, that mixture of sort of sharing ideas really helped. Yeah.
So when you say prototype, I mean, this is were they building batteries? Were they building cars? What was
Well,
going
we
on?
didn't equip them with $1,000 equipment, that's for sure. But and it could be as simple as just stationaries to pens to markers to post-its, anything that we could gather. We had a little toolboxes in every corner of the room. The students was free to go around and grab anything they can to come up and make sort of be able to tell their story of the innovation, how it works in theory. And some of them came up with really creative ideas. We have a lot of our pictures on the website that later on they could probably look at it if people are interested. But yeah, that really, they were able to showcase and what the idea was about, and that really helped.
Any like ones that just blew your mind that you said, wow, I had no idea that?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of ones I was like, wow, I felt embarrassed. They're high school kids or middle school kids, and they're like coming up with all these crazy ideas. Like some kids came up with the idea where it generates electricity to charge your phone by putting in a mechanism in your shoe. So while they're walking a distance, it keeps on charging your phone as you're walking. Or some had solar pieces under the hat that charges the phone. Some were even bigger ideas where it'll be a water park where as they're sliding down, it uses the water to hydropower and it generates electricity and totally brings the water park off the grid. And like stuff like that, I was like, wow, it's really impressive.
Yeah, I think when you unleash kids' imaginations like that, there's really no boundaries. Sometimes you have to rein in the boundaries a little bit, and that's what the prototyping and the testing and the challenging was about. We had some sponsors for that Student Energy Summit. Do you want to?
Yeah, I think it truly was successful because we had the support of our sponsors, not only financially, but they're also being our supportive voice and giving us professional and advice and stuff like that. They're also in helping us on doing some judging work at the very end too. But yeah, we had Energy Accelerator, Hawaii Energy, Hawaiian Airlines. Those are the major sponsors that we had. We also had OceanEd as our sponsor, and DBIT also helped us out with the location. So we had 5 major partners that really made this possible for us. Yeah.
And then the grant from Bill Healy Foundation.
Yes, Bill Healy Foundation allowed us to sort of the seed money to start up the whole process. But in the end, we had local organizations that really helped us out to make this happen. That was really great.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool day, and what struck me is just the energy level among the kids. I mean, kind of ebbs and flows throughout the day, but during that design thinking, when they were sitting down, playing with cardboard, building stuff, looking at each other's designs, I mean, there was energy in that room.
Yeah, absolutely, there's energy in the room. I think it helps too is because they're stimulated by other students in the room. They see things happening around them, and sometimes it was race to the goal, or they had to come up with something within the hour, within the 2 hours. So the sense of urgency was really placed on the spot. But you also have to realize that this session started at like 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
By the time they hit 2 o'clock, it's almost like the school day is over. But we went on to 4 o'clock. And to keep them going was the really tricky part.
Yeah.
But I think they did really well. Yes, we did have to supply them with apples and snacks at the end of the day, but that's what it takes sometimes, and it's a relaxed environment where they're able to sit down on the floor, talk to each other, and come up with it. So I think it really turned out well.
Yeah, and Gary Gill helped.
Gary Gill, he used to be part of Blue Planet Foundation too, but he became our MC of the day, and he helped us energize his students as well too.
Yeah.
And when OceanEd came in the afternoon as 2 hosts, the 2 experts, Robbie, and they came out and they helped us out, and that really helped the crowd as well too.
Yeah, it gives me hope. I mean, watching the students, do this and think through some of these challenges, these real challenges that Hawaii is facing with its energy system. I mean, I think these students, age 6th grade through 12, they're the ones that are going to be designing it, building it, running it. They'll be the leaders in the next 20 to 30 years, which is our range for getting to 100% renewable energy in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I thought this was just a critical event for students to start to think this is their future that they're inheriting. It's going to be a big part of our economy, and let's try to get them excited now as they look at careers in science and engineering and technology. That this could be my future. So.
And when we did recruit all of our partners, we didn't just randomly go out there. We did make it very specific that this is a building process. We need to make sure that there is a continued dialogue throughout the years, and you have to look at these kids and say, these are going to be your future leaders. They could be presidents, they could be stakeholders, they could be CEOs. These are the people that will be ruling a world in maybe 10 years, whatnot.
Yeah.
And of course, our 2045 100% electricity generation in Hawaii, it's truly irrelevant to them because it's going to be their future to be inheriting. So for them to be part of this process, just start thinking about actual issues over here and how they could solve it, to be part of the process, I think that was critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing some of the designs, and there were a couple of students that were just very, very into it, let's say. And were certainly the ones who I spent some times in the books, you know, and I felt like this one kid was probably already has an MIT scholarship waiting for him, but I wanted to put a equity stake in his design that he was, you know, proposing. But pretty cool to see. So it didn't end on Saturday after the Student Energy Summit, right?
Yes.
We're thinking about another energy summit.
Yes, so this Energy Summit alone we're looking at an annual event. Again, it is a building process, meaning that if we don't repeat this, if there's no continuity, this coming back year after year, then it doesn't build into the school system. The whole idea is to have not only students, but educators embrace it too. We had a total of 18 educators, either as a chaperone or simply walked in there and wanted to see what was going on. And for them to carry back the message to their classrooms and being able to share what we discovered that day, that was critical. Going to next year, we're hoping that they will spread the word and really get the kids geared up. Come November, when we do this next year again, then they will be ready. They'll be prepared rather than hearing for the first time.
Yeah.
So that was really important. The other piece is that whatever we gather throughout the day, we're in the process of identifying how that fits into the actual curriculum of the educational system. So our plan is to use that to share with the classroom so that teachers who want to use it, which there are already some interest, we're getting contacts from some teachers who are asking for the information. So that's kind of key.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break here and
Sure.
then come back and talk about the second half of the Student Energy Summit.
Okay.
Aloha! Hello, my name is Patrick Bratton. I'm host of Global Connections here at ThinkTech Hawaii. We broadcast live every Thursday at 1 p.m. We bring Hawaii to the world and the world to Hawaii, talking about international events and various things of interest to the audience. Please join me. I look forward to talking with you and having you get to meet some of my guests. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Kirsten Baumgart Turner, and I'm the host of Sustainable Hawaii at thinktechhawaii.com. We air live on the internet and also on Oceanic Channel 16. I'd invite you to come for a fresh new show every Tuesday from 12 to 1 o'clock. I try to bring on guests that give us a different viewpoint on aspects of sustainability in Hawaii, as well as trying to unpack some of the difficult concepts of measuring and achieving sustainability, particularly with regard to sustainable economic growth and prosperity in Hawaii. Please join us every Tuesday from 12 to 1 p.m. Mahalo, aloha.
Welcome back. I'm Jeff Mikulina with Blue Planet Foundation. I'm here with Francois Rogers, who headed up our Student Energy Summit that we did in the fall of 2015, and we're looking forward to another Student Energy Summit in the fall of 2016.
Yes.
So students, if they're interested, or teachers who think this is a good idea?
Yeah, so we're hoping that if there were seniors, they're passing down the word to the juniors, and of course the middle school kids who are so eager to be part of this process, they might re-sign up or even bring more of their colleagues to come onto this. It does come down back to funding, of course, too, and we have to be able to make it bigger and better. So we're hoping that we have a bigger turnout next year. We had a limitation on the location, which was first year's fine, but I think we want to go bigger and try to make it more stronger, yes.
Aloha Stadium, perhaps?
Maybe. Yeah. No.
So what struck me is we did some surveys before the students.
Yes.
You know, they did answered some questions. Then at the end of the day, when they're all tired, we made them take another survey. And those results were, I think, kind of gave us hope and were pretty impressive. The main one was we asked the kids at the end of the day, would you recommend attending the Student Energy Summit to your friends? And what was the response?
Yeah, it was really strong. A lot of the students said they would definitely recommend it to it. Even from the educator standpoint, a lot of the teachers, we took surveys from them separately from the students too, and their response was overwhelming. They thought it was the best thing. They'd never seen something that was really cued into energy issues. And there's a lot of science fairs and robotics and stuff happening in the state right now, but nothing is really geared towards energy. So this was something very different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exciting. And we're looking forward to it next year. Now, here's the cool part. At the end of the day, we're ready to wrap things up and go home, but we made an announcement, and we said we're launching the...
So we, at the end of the day, we launched the Energy Innovation Design Challenge. So as we've discussed earlier, throughout the afternoon, they did a design thinking challenge, which is basically to ideate and come up with prototypes of their innovation and how they could solve some of the energy issues that they studied of the day. But this challenge actually puts that to test. So they were given some stipend money if needed to go out there and actually even invite other students in their schools to be part of a team and to participate into this challenge. So after 2 months, we had a bunch of entries that came through. We did, of course, have lots of interest in the beginning, but at the end of the day, they had to really come up with actual solutions. So the students were required to come up with some videos that clearly outlines and explains about what their innovation is, and then and tell us how that will work in the actual world. The students will be judged by different sets of people in the community. We have selected different people that will be sort of judging on different set criterias, which the students are given at the get-go. So we're hoping that kind of fits into it, but we have a lot of different interesting entries that came through. So I'm hoping to see some of it today that we could show it to you today. But yeah, very, very creative. And it's just the way they are able to explain in detail and how it works and whatnot. I think that was really interesting to watch at their age to be able to do that, yeah.
And we didn't have too many boundaries on what those solutions could be. They just had to address a energy challenge that was brought up during the day at the Student Energy Summit, and then go with their team and hopefully use the design thinking process to come up with some solutions and then build prototypes, test it, redesign it, prototype, test it, and keep repeating that process. And that was one of the judging criteria, is how many prototypes they actually built.
Exactly, yeah. So because part of the design thinking challenge is how do you put to test your prototype, and the more prototypes, the better. But at the end of the day, how would that actually work that's the key to it. So a lot of the students went through the process, and some did it once, some did it twice, but some did it up to 5 times, and that was really cool to watch. So yeah.
Yes. And teaching the kids that failure, not failure isn't an option. Failure is a necessary part of that design process.
Yes, I think in order to, and in anything in life, I mean, failure is fine. You miss a goal, you get it the next time. You learn from your mistakes, and that's the whole idea behind it. It's not a mistake, it's a step to getting better, to making it better. And I think that's something we could all learn in this energy future that we're trying to embrace right now, yeah.
Right. And then we dangled out the...
Yeah. So the biggest prize right now that we're dangling out is for the winning team. They'll be getting up to $2,000, or it is $2,000 for education advancement of their choice. So that's what they're doing. So some are entering as individuals, some are as teams, but we're hoping to be able to come up with the actual winner soon and announce this more publicly and recognize them as the first innovators ever that we put together for this year.
Yeah, cool. So the winning team, a $2,000, essentially a scholarship that then split among
absolutely. We're hoping that they'll apply it to more useful stuff.
Right.
And so we did phrase it as education advancement. So hopefully it goes towards the education expenses, stuff that they need to go into the path of becoming part of this energy future. Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of these videos.
Sure.
Again, we got I think about 8 of the 14 teams. The task was to develop an up to 5-minute video that explained the problem, your solution, show your prototypes, show your process. So let's get to it. Let's see the first.
Be interesting.
This is a sampling of some of the submissions from the students.
A few of it, yes, yeah. But
The next step in the design think process is defining the problem. We thought, what if we could solve both of these problems at once? From that point on, we were looking for ways to generate clean, cheap electricity and energy. Okay. We won't lie, the first hour is really hard. You can't think of anything.
And then suddenly you have ideas from solar flare collectors to windmills on your cars.
We were trying to find a renewable energy solution.
And we wanted to do something really original. We wanted to do something that hasn't been done before.
That's when we stumbled across duckweed. We ended up deciding to make an inexpensive, home-sized biomass system. We chose duckweed for many reasons. One of the questions people commonly ask us is, why not use trees? Well, trees can take years to grow, and they're very labor-intensive to collect. And duckweed can reproduce overnight.
Also, duckweed is nearly impossible to kill. It's harder to kill it than it is to actually grow it. We found it growing in sludge at our local nursery with nearly no water.
The perfect conditions can do wonders to duckweed. So can the horrible ones.
Our idea was to pelletize the plant and then dry it to create something that could be burned for heat and cooking. Solar and wind energy could both be used as sources for this, but they're unreliable, and one cloud could take out your entire day of electricity. We wanted a cheap system that could be used in developing countries where their resources may be limited. We consulted with the heads of local biomass companies, and they gave us advice, such as to use ignition fuel to start burning the duckweed, and to compress the duckweed into pellets so that it would be more efficient.
So the idea is to get the duckweed as compressed as possible so the pellets burn from over. Duckweed is carbon neutral because it takes in carbon dioxide as it grows, so the only gas released when it burns is the gas it already took in.
And it can be carbon negative if we collect the ash and use it for fertilizer. $3 billion coal-burning homes is a major problem. If duckweed pellets can offset even a portion of that pollution, we will have a major impact on climate change.
Wasn't that great? I mean, just the from the video quality to the idea, they went through the prototypes. Just fun to watch the kids and see how excited the kids were.
I know, it's amazing what they did on this video. They were very to the point. They followed the 5 steps and they did prototype after prototype, not just only on the compressing method, but also how to burn it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with what they have done. So these were kids from the Connect 5.
On Kauai.
Yes, from Kauai, yeah. So the little kids, like, they all put it together, and it's just the creativity behind it and how they were able to explain it was really cool to me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch where those kids go.
I
you
know,
know,
I know.
and with that kind of experience.
Yes.
So again, these are just a sampling. The judging is happening right now.
Yes.
We don't know who's going to be the lucky recipient of that scholarship funds, but I think they're a strong contender. They're looking good, and I think they might have a real usable product.
Yeah.
We could see it on Shark Tank pretty soon.
Sure.
So the next one we're going to share is from Kihei. They're called Team X. It's a Kihei charter school.
Sure, yes.
and taking a bit of a different approach. Again, we didn't prescribe, the problem that they had to solve. They looked at all sorts of problems. This one, the Kauai kids looked at how do we replace coal-burning stoves throughout the world. Very serious problem, and they had their solution. The Kihei students looked at a different sort of problem. And
Yes.
how do we measure and monitor our energy use in our homes and businesses?
Yep.
So I think we'll be taking a break, and then we'll come back and watch that video from our Maui friends.
That'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. I'm host of Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is our flagship show, which plays 4 to 5 p.m. every Wednesday. And the supporters of that show are Hawaii Energy Policy Forum and Hawaii Energy. And luckily enough, we have representatives of both of them right here today to tell you more about what they think about the show. Sharon Moriwaki at my left is co-chair of Hawaii Energy Policy Forum, and she goes first. Sharon?
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. I'm so glad that we have this Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy. This was 2 years ago when we started this, and we have continued it because it's so important, and there's so many developments happening across the state. And we hope you'll tune in every Wednesday, 4 to 5. It's wonderful.
And Ray is Hawaii Energy. Ray, what is your thought about the same subject?
Well, I agree completely with Sharon that we are talking about every Wednesday, 4 to 5. We talk about some of the most important subjects that are affecting the islands now and into the future. Energy, clean energy, we need it. We often run into new ideas that we had not thought about before. We did just today, and I think we're going to have more of that in the future. So come on down and watch us 4 to 5 on Wednesdays, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see you then. Aloha.
Aloha.
All right, welcome back. We just saw the video from our friends on Kauai with a duckweed solution. Now let's look at the video from the Kihei students.
Hawaii is a diverse and special ecosystem, presenting many unique opportunities for renewable energy. The Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative aims to reduce oil dependency and run on 100% clean energy by 2045. With the advent of consumer-grade prototyping electronics so readily available, a unique opportunity is presented to allow an everyday person in Hawaii to integrate systems into their homes in order to make them more conscious of the energy they use. We have prototyped a proof-of-concept outlet monitor for recording energy usage over time, while communicating that usage with the consumer in near real time via a smartphone app and the internet. We wanted to try and make the everyday person in Hawaii able to take control of their understanding of energy. While other solutions exist on the market today, we present a streamlined monitor, self-contained within the outlet box. In a nutshell, this outlet box monitors the power consumption of anything plugged into it, and then uploads that data along with the time of the power consumption to the internet, such as on a server here or Raspberry Pi. While we'll get into that in a moment, first let's meet the team.
My name is Leif Torgerson. I'm 17 years old, and I was in charge of app programming and just general programming.
Hi, I'm Celeste Junganan, age 16, and I was in charge of documentation and media production.
Hello, I'm Kayiliahi Jorg. I'm 16 years old, and my job was general hardware and troubleshooting.
Hi, I'm Luke Jones. I'm 16. I was the group leader and oversaw production of prototypes and their applications.
Our app and hardware were both designed and redesigned with future compatibility in mind. Our app prototype, which currently only shows one data point at any given time, could eventually be integrated to work with the Nest Smart Home Service, Google Fusion Tables, or Emon CMS, among others. While our app, microcontroller environment, cloud service, and Python GUI are all their own prototypes, they all connect to the central monitor. This is our deconstructed proof-of-concept prototype, unpacked for easier explanation. The entire monitor can be self-contained within a double-wide outlet box, leaving flexibility for the possible addition of a USB outlet in the second slot in the future. A relay and current transformer act as a local circuit breaker for the outlet, and when turned off via a cloud command, eliminate phantom power from being drawn from anything plugged into the AC outlets. While they do require a separate 5-volt constant power draw, separate from the main circuit, the overall amount of power saved from turning off the outlet when it isn't in use makes up for the extra draw, on top of an additional energy savings. The intent of this entire system was to present to the everyday consumer a comprehensive system that could be installed in their house in order to inform them about their typical energy usage at any given point in the day by any given device plugged into an AC outlet. While the explanation here can get tedious, it was an important piece of criteria that the end prototype is a streamlined box that connects to a smartphone app via Wi-Fi cloud systems. This is achieved through our microcontroller, which takes data from the current transformer and exports that data along with a timestamp to either a local server, such as the Raspberry Pi, or directly to a cloud service via Wi-Fi. If this product were to actually be manufactured, a custom-built circuit board would probably be employed to cut down on cost. Everything else, however, is quite cost-efficient thanks to the expertise of Jerry Isdale, who can be seen in the time-lapse earlier in the video. His expertise in microcontrollers, sensors, and electrical engineering were the guiding principles for gathering the necessary research for this project. Other sources of research included constant brainstorming of ways to alter criteria to make the best product possible for the individual, while keeping compatibility and scalability in mind for large-scale production should the need arise. With everything taken into consideration, the value of the final proof of concept ecosystem of prototypes seems self-evident. While not a large-scale solution to all of Hawaii's energy woes, it will serve very well as a jumpstart to Hawaii's renewable energy initiative, providing a personal and economic impact on the individual, doing its small part to make everybody more energy conscious as we progress to 2025.
So I think you see some MIT-bound kids maybe in that video, or maybe University of Hawaii Engineering College, even better.
Absolutely, they were great, yeah.
Yeah.
Just love the way of the creativity again and how they captured everything onto it, yeah.
But very different. I mean, we saw the duckweed one from Kauai, now a very, very electrical engineering-driven one from the Kihei students, the charter school. So Kauai, Maui, now let's look at Oahu and the submission from Les Jardins students from Kailua.
Yep.
So.
Climate change is scary. It causes more than just ocean levels to rise. We notice also creating worldwide conflict, and our generation is faced with the consequences.
A main part of the problem is our reliance on fossil fuels.
We want to help, and we believe that inter-age teams will be the most effective.
We appreciate that people are finally starting to involve young people in generating solutions. For this project, we assembled a diverse team that included students of different ages as well as adults, all committed to reducing our carbon footprint.
We couldn't figure out how to make independent, clean, sustainable neighborhood smart grids. There were some major roadblocks related to energy policies, so we'll have to do that next time. Knowing that our vehicles pump CO2 into the atmosphere, we decided to tackle transportation. First, we made a bike with solar-paneled lights. It was cool, but when we did more research, we realized that the main reason people don't bike isn't actually because of lighting. It's because they don't want to bike alone. That got us thinking about carpooling. Why don't people carpool? It turns out that half the time, it's because they can't find other people that are headed in the same direction.
We need a paradigm shift. We spend plenty of time on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. We're connecting all the time with our phones, expanding our social networks daily.
What we need to do is reroute. Change our mindsets, change our behavior, and change our communities.
So we came up with Reroute. Reroute is a social network to encourage new habits of transportation and more time together outside. Our mission is to reroute our behavior in order to create cleaner, healthier communities.
Just like how we can connect through Instagram over photos, we want to make a place where people can connect over biking, walking, running, skateboarding, carpooling, and taking the bus.
When you open your Reroute app, you go immediately to your friend feed. This home screen shows you a feed of reroutes that your friends have added. You have the option to see other routers' feeds in your area as well if you click Show All. Like other social networking apps, you can always opt to keep your profile private. With the filter, you are able to add keywords to adjust your feed to see specific friends, places, or modes of transportation. When you click on the Routes tab at the bottom, you can view the reroute activity in your area or in other regions using a map view or a regions list. The map view highlights reroutes in your area as pinpoints based on the location of the user when he or she set their reroute. Blue pinpoints are friends, red are other rerouters in your area. If you click the Regions tab at the top of the page, it displays the regions near your current location and the number of people that have routes in that region. You can enter a zip code or city to browse routes in that part of the world that you are interested in. You can also filter by distance.
When you double tap on someone's pinpoint, their reroute will be highlighted, so you can catch up with them along the way. You can zoom in on their route the same way you would use Google Maps on your phone. Simply pinch in or out. To return to the regular map view, just tap on the route.
When in the Regions tab, click on the red number to get a specific feed to that region. The benefit of this function is that it allows users to see what's going on in other regions. When you add a reroute from this page, it automatically selects the region.
The next tab over from the Map tab is the R, or Reroute. When creating a route, you can choose your destinations, time frame, and mode of transportation. If you only want a specific friend group to see your route, you can add a group rather than uploading the route to your regular feed. Enable location services on any smartphone, manually type in your current location or select a region in the route question section. Then type in your destination or pick from multiple familiar popular locations that will automatically fill in the box. It's optional for you to choose a group or create a group of friends to specifically blast your reroute out to. Then you choose when you want to have your activity or select the Whenever tab for going out whenever you want and having no specific time. Then you choose your mode of transportation. You can choose multiple and also type in your own one. Then you press the Reroute Me button to create your route. You can also
The benefit of being able to pick multiple routes and multiple modes of transportation is that someone in your neighborhood might not be able to go for a walk, but they're really stoked that you wanted to go for a bike ride. So that's where the social networking piece comes in.
You can also explore new people in the magnifying glass or explore option. This is how you discover people and places on Reroute. You can create new friendships and memorable places on a daily basis, connecting over healthier, greener habits.
The Profile tab is where you upload your router information. Click the Edit Profile button to make changes to your profile. Add favorite regions, your transportation information, favorite routes, and much more to your profile. Add car information regarding make, model, and miles per gallon so that when planning a carpool, the app can choose the most energy-efficient choice of a car. You can add new groups or find friends through your contacts and other social media apps. At any time, you can click on someone's username and it takes you directly to their profile page.
People in our generation love social apps.
With Reroute, we'll be able to create a new, trendy way to get people outside of their old habits
and rerouted on a bike ride, a walk, a run, skateboarding, carpooling, or on the bus with the people in their community.
In order to reduce our impact,
we have to reroute our behavior.
And the best way to do it
is together.
I want to download that right now. I think that was just a genius proposal from the folks at the Les Jardins School. Great video too. But it just goes to show what the kids can do when you wind them up and let them go and let their minds explore the different solutions.
So this is just flashes of some of the entries that we got. I mean, we went from talking about how we're offsetting coal to the whole technology, the whole electrical approach. And then now we're looking at apps, clever ways to engage people and do it. We had different ways of looking at energy, taking care of energy and stuff like this. So I mean, all these entries are relevant and it really matters. I really thought at first, so it really makes our job really more difficult.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part for us, is how do we decide on what was the best selection. But so we have to go back to our scoring board and look at how they fit into the criteria that was given to them. Every task had a set criteria and they have to meet those goals. So the judges have the work for them.
Right.
So we're hoping to make an announcement next week and deciding on who's the ultimate winner.
Great. So blueplanetfoundation.org for that information, but the future is bright, seeing how these students are so creative. Thanks for joining us today. We're looking forward to our Student Energy Summit next year and hopefully another Energy Innovation Design Challenge. So mahalo, ThinkTech. Thank you, Kirsten, for letting us fill in, and we'll see you again real soon.